So I wanted to talk about Night of Champions. Oh my gosh. I was thinking, I almost said Clash of Champions. And I think it's because like I just been looking at like a lot of WCW, like not even matches, but like, like the history of like, like things like that, like on YouTube. I'm a big YouTube person. Oh my gosh. I probably watch YouTube more than like I watch other streaming services. I guess this is why like I'm posting this video now because I just want to contribute to it. But anyway, Night of Champions, I thought was a very great show. Like, if I'm being honest, I think that might be the show of the year that the main roster WWE has done. If we're talking show of the year for WWE, it's probably AAA, El Grande Americano versus El Grande Americano 2. Like, that was great. But as for like main roster, it was good. And I think what gave it that feeling was one, like they're in a place that they're going to be for WrestleMania. So like from the jump, you could tell they were trying to make a good impression. Like we went in there with like great matches. And I will say matches that were also allowed to breathe. Like matches that were allowed to develop and like actually have a story to them. And I think it's because, they're like trying to really tease the crowd for WrestleMania. They're trying to sell tickets. And I think they're definitely going to do that because Sami Zayn is your new world champion. Shocker. I was like, man, it would be dope if they did that, but I was not expecting Sami Zayn to win the WWE Championship. Like, I didn't see it coming. But the more I watched, the more I was like, this match is going really long for Cody to retain. Like, my mind was like, it's either going to be Gunther or Sammy. And I was like, I don't see Sammy winning. And I don't hate Gunther winning. But, like like I said, I wasn't seeing Sammy winning. But I'm so happy they pulled the trigger. It was a great match. It was probably one of the best triple threat matches I've seen in a minute. And it just had everything that, like, kind of makes you go, like, oh, yeah, this is why, like, I watch professional wrestling. This is why I like professional wrestling. All right, so that was the main event. Let's talk about the match opener. Jey Uso versus Oba Femi. Great. I love that there was no shenanigans. I was really expecting LA Knight to come out and, like hit a BFT or something that would make Jey Uso lose. But I like how they're just keeping Oba dominant. And like, like whenever he has like matches against really big stars or really big people, there's not shenanigans. Like it's just him being dominant. It's a fight. Like, I love how they're handling Oba, and I think the match was great. I think Jay did a good job. Would I have been mad if Jey Uso won? I wouldn't have been mad. Sorry. I don't know why it took long. I wouldn't have been mad. I don't take professional wrestling that seriously. But I think if Jey Uso beat him clean, I would have been mad. If Brock Lesnar interrupted, I would be like, like, damn, they really could have had a star moment right there with Oba Femi, but whatever. It's still going to be, good, but he should have been going after Roman or Cody. Like, that's would have been my thought. But overall, I thought the match did a good job. Moving on, let's see. Oh, it was the Queen of the Ring, if I'm not mistaken. So, I'm not going to lie, guys. I was rooting for Liv Morgan to win. I was rooting for Liv Morgan. I was actually like... one of my favorite SummerSlam matches of all time is Rhea Ripley versus Liv Morgan. I don't know just what it was. I just loved that match. And I would have been A-okay if Liv Morgan won and then went against Rhea Ripley. But at the same time, I'm not mad at Io Sky won. And one thing that's kind of making me more excited and more like, oh man, where are we going to go with this? Is Liv Morgan has been cursed by Danhausen. And I'm smelling a Danhausen versus Judgment Day feud, and there's a lot of rumors about like people potentially being involved, like with Danhausen. I think I saw something about Enzo Amore and Baron Corbin. Baron Corbin will be great to go with Danhausen, I think, especially like if you give him a character or a mask. But because like dude's a big dude that can move. Like I feel like as long as you actually let him wrestle and move, great, he'll do a great job. And then also that means we can potentially get a reunion with the Wolf Dogs. All right. Next match was Seth Rollins versus Braun Breaker. Boy, Seth Rollins does not miss when it comes to cage matches. If you put him in any cage, it doesn't matter if it's a Hell in a Cell, it doesn't matter if it's a steel cage. Seth Rollins doesn't miss. Like, I can even go all the way back to 2015, him versus Cena in a cage match. I think it was like some sort of like special that they aired or something. But like the match was great. But also like him and Cena just had great chemistry. But I like the match. But let's go to the ending. Seth Rollins beats Braun Breaker. As soon as that happened, here was my mind. Braun Breaker is still a very bankable star. Okay? Like, I get it. I get that there's a lot of big things happening. And this loss doesn't make Braun Breaker look good, but he went out on his shield. Like, he had, he took a super stomp. And, like, he, had that kind of hookup moment before he went out. Like, he died like a warrior. And I think this match alone has secured Braun Breaker winning the 2027 Royal Rumble. You heard it here first. It's just a hunch. But I'm not too worried about Braun Breaker. I think he's still a very bankable star, like I said. Now, let's go to Trick Williams versus Ricky Starks. Great. I thought it was a pretty good match. One thing I am happy about is Lil Yachty is still with Trick Williams. And, like, they make a good pairing. But you also got to be thinking, like, if they're going to turn Trick heel, because let's be honest, like, heel Trick is, like, his bread and butter. He's kind of like The Rock right now. But, like, I would like to see, like, a heel Trick Williams. Because, like, the crowd's still going to be behind him. And I still think he'll sell, but, like, it's whatever. I get it. He's very bankable. People probably like him as he is. He's probably selling a bunch of merchandise. But this is my 2 cents. But I thought the match was good. They had good chemistry. I'm hoping because Trick Williams retains, we get Trick Williams versus Carmelo Hayes at SummerSlam. Maybe it's something cool like an Iron Man match, something where they can really, have a, let's see who's the actual best, like, renew their rivalry. And then last but not least, we have Jade Cargill versus Tiffany Stratton. I thought the match was good. It was fun. And I'm happy Tiffany Stratton retained. I know a lot of people don't like her, especially like in the Twitter, IG, social media side of professional wrestling. But I think she's still pretty good. I think this title run can be a nice lengthy one. And it can lead to like us potentially getting another star out of it. I did like the ending because this pretty much means we're getting Charlotte Flair versus Jade Cargill, and I think that's a pretty good match. I think that's actually a good match for Jade Cargill, and it's a good match for Charlotte Flair. And I think, I just think altogether, I'm excited to see what's going to happen for SummerSlam, because SummerSlam looks really, really good right now. Like, really good to me. I'm excited. And I can't wait. And that wraps up my review of Night of Champions. I almost said Clash of Champions again. If you enjoy it, give me a subscribe. This tells you, boy, you really mess with them. And I look forward to doing pro wrestling reviews like this. I'm probably not going to do it like every pay-per-view. I do want to explore like other things I want to do. I love professional wrestling. but I don't think I can solely be a professional wrestling content creator. So, yeah, but this was fun, and I look forward to doing it again. Until then, Godspeed.